Alright guys, so welcome to Flight Maps, an After Effects template designed to quickly and easily create animated maps of an airplane traveling between any two cities in the world. To give you a quick idea of what can be created using this template, here's a couple of examples. So this is more or less what you can achieve, and let me show you how do you do it. Is it hard? Well, it isn't. It actually is really simple. Once you learn how to use this template, it probably takes 5 minutes to create an animated map. You can obviously spend as much or as long as you want stylizing and customizing that map, but to get a simple but really professional custom design map, it shouldn't take more than 15 minutes. So to start off, let's take a look at the structure of this template so you know what's what and you know your way around it. Essentially, there are two main parts to it. It's the dashboard and the control layers. And so this dashboard is something that we've built to give you easy access around the template and so that you can quickly see any of the visual changes that you're making to it. It has a preview window that shows which map you have selected and what it looks like in real time. Then on the right hand side you have a panel where you can quickly see the changes that you're making to your design. This comes in very handy when you're styling the map, which you can see later in this video. Then down here below you have all of your control layers. I'll give you a quick overview so you know what each of those layers do. So select map layer is where you can quickly pick out the map that you want to work on. We have 6 different continents and also a map of the world for any transcontinental traveling. You select, say, Asia, and right away that map displays in your preview window. Now, if you want to edit this map, you simply double click on it in your dashboard and it brings you right into its composition. Super handy. Okay, let's go back to our dashboard. The other thing that you can do here is switch which direction your airplane is flying in. By default, it's flying from left to right, but you can click here and it flips your animation or your flight direction from right to left. So let's switch back to Europe, and as you can see, if you don't have a map selected, over here it says no map selected, and it's sort of handy so you don't freak out where your map has disappeared. Okay, so down below, the next 4 layers are your actual design layers. Default is your default color scheme that gives you a Google Maps-like color palette. Within this layer there are a whole bunch of controls that allow you to change the color of various elements, turn on different textures, clouds, and other effects. As you can see here, as soon as I change any of the colors, you can see that they are changing over here in your dashboard as well. This is a great way to see the changes that you're making, and it becomes even more relevant when you get to the icons and all the other little design elements. Then next we have 3 pre-made visual styles that you can use as a basis for creating your own custom design. The first one is called Flat Dark, and it has a dark color palette with a bright key color used for all of its elements. And once again, you can go in here and very quickly change any of its settings. Then we have Tech White, which is a very clean and bright template that looks quite techy. And then finally we have Lush Green, which looks much more like a traditional map where the water is blue and the landmass is green. So as you can see, it's really simple to drop in a color theme and have a really good looking map, right off the bat. And whenever you have either of the themes turned on, their name and all of its design features are displayed over here in your dashboard. Very handy, right? And finally, at the bottom here, we have another 4 layers which are controlling, so this one is controlling the airplane icons. So you have a couple of different airplane designs to choose from. We've also a sailboat that has been recently added by a request from our customers. And as you can see, once you turn on the sailboat, the drop shadow from the route line disappears, so it doesn't look like your boat is floating. Or your boat is flying in the air, and then the same goes for the car as well. Then the next we have a whole bunch of pin icons for you to pick from, and each one of them have their own animation styles where they animate in a little bit differently. And over here you have your route line adjustment settings. And finally, we have transitions, which is a really interesting one. There are two aspects to this. One is the actual transition, so when the animation starts. Right now there is no transition, but we can add a burn effect, so it kind of burns in like this. And you can also add a circular transition. And then in addition to that, we have also added a split screen feature, which can be used in cases when it's important that the viewer continues seeing the presenter, or perhaps it's yourself, if you're the one who's recording the video throughout the shot. So this way the map only takes up a portion of the screen, and the way this is done is that the map actually animates in with a really nice transition. Yeah, very cool. And your video footage stays here on the side. And then you can also flip it to the right, or use a 1/3 effect that covers even less of the screen, leaving even more space for the presenter. Alright, so that's that, finally. Okay, so that's really an overview of how all of this works and how much control you have over the look of your maps. Using this template, it's super easy to design a nice looking map even if you're a beginner. And if you're a professional motion designer, you can use this as a basis for your style and then dive deeper into all of the comps and customize your look to its finest details. Okay, so let's get in and try to create an animated map from scratch so you can see how to use all of these features. This will also demonstrate how to adjust your two city positions, change their names, create a new route, and attach the airplane to it. For our example, say I want to use Europe, and I want to create a flight animation of myself traveling from, say, Barcelona to Vienna. And we'll be heading there for a techno festival, so we'll need a funky color theme to go with our map. The correct map is already selected, so I just double click on it here and we go right into the comp. There's a couple of steps to this. So first, what we want to do is move our camera so that it zooms into a correct position and then travels to where Vienna should be. So you select your camera layer, press P on your keyboard, and that gives us our position keyframes. Then go to the first keyframe, and using my arrow keys I will reposition the camera to where I think Barcelona is. Doesn't have to be super precise, as we can come back and tweak this later. Then I go to the second keyframe, or the last keyframe, and I kind of move it where I think Vienna is in Austria. Okay, so with our camera positioned, let's position our two cities. So I'd say Barcelona is somewhere over here. And then we go here and we pick our Athens and reposition this to where I think Vienna should be. Roughly, again, don't judge me on this. So now I want to change the names of our two cities. So London is going to be called Barcelona. I close this. And this is going to be our Vienna. Okay, so we have our two cities. And next we have to reposition the route so that it goes from Barcelona to Vienna. I select the route layer, expand its properties, and find the one called Path. And now with my path shape selected, what I can do is I can pick my selection tool and select my first keyframe. I move it down to Barcelona. I go here roughly like that, and now I want to create a nice curve from here to here. Okay, this will be perfectly fine for our demo, but yeah, that's our curve. And if I'm not mistaken, that should work. And the curve is in place and animating. All right, excellent. So once we have our route done, we need to do the same thing for the shadow. We go to Path, grab the top point, move it here, then grab the middle guy, straighten it out, and now the last point. And this is going to be a little more straight to show that the shadow is not flying. And all right, very nice. Okay, so next we need to get the airplane to follow the path. This might look a little bit more tricky on the outset, but it's actually really straightforward once you get the hang of it. So what we want to do is copy the shape of this path and paste it back onto the airplane's position parameter. To do that, I select our route layer, expand its properties until I find path. I now click on this little stopwatch icon over here to add a keyframe. I select the keyframe and go Control C or Command C if you are using a Mac, and then I turn that keyframe back off. Okay, so we can close all of this and now go to our airplane, press the U key to expand its animated properties. So I can see here that its position already has some animated keyframes where it was following the previous path. So I get rid of these and click on the stopwatch again to create a new animation keyframe. And then go Control V, and it has created an animation in the shape of our new path. So now we have the airplane, and it's sort of following our path. But it's still not matching up here and not matching up here. So to improve this, we go back to our position and we need to add some easing to our keyframes. I right click on the first keyframe and set it to ease out. Then right click on the last keyframe and set it to ease in. So let's preview this again. And that's already a lot closer. But see, in the beginning, it's still not matching up perfectly. So we're going to click on this guy to open an editor graph. And with the editor graph, we can move our Bezier curves like that, which will further strengthen our easing effect. And let's preview it again. And it's exactly what we were looking for. The plane is following our path perfectly. So with that set up, the last thing we need to do is adjust our airplane's shadow to make sure it follows our route's shadow. Let's have a look at it here. So it's a little too long, so let's move it in a little closer for when the airplane's ascending. And here as well. And I think that should pretty much do it. And here we go. Easy. Barcelona to Vienna. And that's our airplane done. So now to style the map, we go back to our dashboard where we turn on the flat dark theme as our starting point, and we'll do some tweaking here to make sure that we get just the look that we're going for. We'll turn on a glow to make all of our elements really stand out, and we'll make our objects very bright color, like a fluorescent blue, kind of like this. Then for my pin, I'd like to use icon number 3, which has some nice animations that will go really well with this look. And I want to use icon number 2 for my airplane. And then also add a splash of color to my ground. And country lines, it's as easy as that. So let's just preview this, and yeah, that's great. Okay, so that's our map done. And then once you're happy with your design, you are ready to render it. So we double click on our map in the preview window to go into its composition, because that's where you want to render from. And as you can see, it's all updated here. The look that we just designed in the dashboard is fully implemented on this map. And I go in and set my in and out points, which by default is 8 seconds. I go composition, add to Adobe Media Encoder queue, and it is advised, or I usually use the ProRes codec for any renders that I do, as it offers the best quality results. But if you were after maybe a smaller file size render, you can use an H.264 codec wrapped in MP4 video file format. The only thing that you want to keep in mind is that when you're using a split screen effect, you have to use a ProRes codec or some other uncompressed QuickTime format that can preserve the alpha channel, as otherwise you will have a black block of color where your transparency should be. Okay, so that's that really. And that's just how easy it is to create a professional looking map using our Flight Maps After Effects template. I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions at all.